Our next guest today is none other than the brand new Mad Lions jungler, Elyoya, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Excited to talk to so many of the new rookies here at the LEC. But as Caedrel is your brother in jungling, I'll let him ask. I'll let him pretty much run the show here because I think that he's going to have a much better questions than me. Where it's going to be like, why Nidalee spear not land? You know, that's pretty much the extent.
No.
That's the extent.
Why are you
going to
start it off like that? No, I mean, I would just start by asking, how are you feeling? I mean, it's your first weekend in the LEC. I just want to know some thoughts and feelings. Did you think that you had a good showing, bad showing? I mean, I think the game against G2, your early game, was really, really clean, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I had a bad showing overall. I'm not happy with the games I have played so far. I mean, actually, now that you mentioned that, Nidalee spear was like... I mean, it's a tragedy.
I forgot that you had a meme spear. I wasn't trying to flame you. I was just trying to pick something
The rest of the game was good,
that
though.
was simple. That was my bad.
But actually, no, it was like... I mean, you can't miss a spear on a stun target. And like, I mean, it's weird because I feel like on the first game against G2, it's the game I was the least nervous. And then the rest were like, I was a bit shaky.
Okay, and those nerves coming into it, was that because of just the LEC, the pressure? Was it the practice? Was it the champions you put on? Or what was the combination of nerves there?
I think on the second game, it was the champion I was put on. Like, I'm really comfortable playing Nidalee, but not on stage. Like, on stage, it was different. I kind of just choked a bit.
No, I think your showing was good. And although the spear did miss, I think the rest of the game was absolutely fine. And I think that it was 3 different champions you played throughout the whole weekend. Do you think that the jungle meta is, you can kind of pick and choose? Is it more based on what solo laners you have, or is it based on the jungle being OP? Because we saw so many games, like you had a stronger, not you in particular, but in general, people had stronger junglers, but then the enemy team had more priority lanes. So it was really like kind of useless to have a stronger jungler when the enemy team has more priority lanes. Couldn't really abuse it.
Yeah, I kind of think it comes down more to primary lanes. Like, I think the jungle pick right now is something to pair up with. That, like, imagine you get a good 2v2 on the mid lane, on the mid jungle. You get a good combo like Talia Renekton. I think that it's more about pairing it up with some other champions that work like really well, not that only your champ.
Yeah, and it's it has been interesting to see it develop too, especially as teams I think have figured out that just like simpler combos, simpler options are what's better. You're a guy that's been around and that has played and has come up and kind of a scene and has had competitive experience prior to the LEC, which is, again, something so cool to see. I said this in our previous interview too, but it always just makes me really excited. But I'm curious, when you felt this kind of pressure this weekend, when you were struggling to like play at your best, is that something that you have ever experienced before, or is this something that you're dealing with for the first time here in LEC games?
No, it's something I have experienced before, and it's like kind of like to being scared of like missing and just failing like big time, for example. And it's something that in the past I have just overcome by being like really confident on myself. But here it's a bit harder because I'm like on the next level that I was like, for example, like last year. So I think that I just need like some time to get comfortable in the league and just have some confidence until I can show like what I'm really capable of.
Do you feel like a portion of that pressure comes from the fact that Mad Lions, obviously they had a really good summer split, they finished second place. Yes, they bombed out at Worlds, but Shadow, I think in the regular split played pretty good. Are you trying to, when you join this team, are you trying to fill Shadow's role, or are you trying to bring something new to the team, try and bring your own experience, try and bring this new sort of hard carry jungle style that you've been showing?
I mean, I always try to bring like a new style. Like, I just have like my own style, which is like, I mean, yeah, in this case, it's playing like every jungler. So I'm not trying to like fill any shoes or something. I'm just trying to like even be better if possible. Like, I'm just trying to,
I think, and thank you for your honesty, kind of just speaking about that pressure, because I think
definitely.
Pros will talk about struggling to perform, but rarely will they like actually say the words, "I am scared of like screwing it up," and I think that's a big thing to like admit out loud.
I think accepting it is like the best thing, right? If you know that you're nervous and you accept it, you're like, you can play better, I think, and grow.
Yeah, you can get past it instead of it being this like scary thing that you're not sure about. But I mean, it definitely makes sense, right? And like that's something that I'm glad I have you here for, Caedrel, because I have no idea. Like there's pressure on the cast most certainly, but the worst thing that happens is like I get a bad Reddit thread, but I got to keep my job. No one's like, there's not a line of casters behind me like ready to be the next, play-by-play caster to take my spot. I feel like your role and your job is just so much more competitive and so much more high stakes. So it's always interesting to kind of hear about that pressure. How has the Mad Lions experience been for you so far on the main roster? Kind of like, what are the big differences that you've noticed between your experience in the ERLs and now playing on the LEC? Is there a big notable difference in like team environment and how things are structured?
I think so. Yeah, I think that there is like really big difference in terms of how serious like things are here. Like I could, for example, last year have a happy game in scrims and nothing would happen. But here, like if you have like a game that you're like just like not paying as much attention, like it's a big deal because you're wasting like 4 people time that like are really here to win. It makes you like feel actually really bad. So I think that it's like way more serious and the environment and everything is just more competitive, I would say.
But do you think that pushes you to become even better version of yourself? Because like if the environment's relaxed, it's ERLs, maybe in the ERL scrims you have a bad game or a bad set, doesn't matter too much, and then this pressure put on you in scrims to perform, and people like you said, 4 people around you who really, really want to win. Does that motivate you to be like, okay, I really want to win too now? Actually, do you feed off of those people?
Not me in particular, because like I have always had like enough motivation. Like I mean, my goals are really clear, and it's I just want to be the best jungler in EU. So I don't need like that kind of like more motivation. But I mean, it for sure helps.
And those goals about being the best jungler in EU, where do your goals set in terms of the global picture? You know, do you want to make playoffs? Do you want to finish top 4? Do you want to make it to Worlds? Do you want to just win the next game on stage? Where do you see your goals lying right now?
My goals are right now just making it worse. It's like my next big step I kind of want to take.
Yeah, and I think that lines up with Mad Lions, who obviously, had a poor showing at last Worlds, and I know a lot of those players, all of those players, would love to turn it around and show up more. Except for Armo, who technically had a good showing at Worlds, but at the price of Mad Lions, which is obviously very interesting. So, whoops on that one. But I think it's cool when you talk. I mean, I think I like that you have this that you have basically a team goal in the sense of making it to Worlds and a personal goal in being the best jungler. So when you look at the best junglers in Europe, what is it that where do you feel like you still need to improve? Where do you feel like you still need to learn and get better compared to, I don't know, whoever you think number one is right now, be it self-made, inspired, Ghosts?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm honest, I still feel like in EU junglers we still need to learn a lot. Like I compare like any EU jungler to, for example, like just Canyon, and I just feel like there is like way too much of a difference. So I think that we have to improve in pretty much everything, like every aspect of the game.
Jungle diff. And going back to Drakos' point,
yeah,
who would you say are the best junglers you face in scrims personally? I'm just curious.
Probably I would say it's inspired Jankos. And yeah, I think those are like the 2 best at the moment.
Yeah, and
it
does stack up. The Polish Trinity, as long as 2 of those names are of the Polish Trinity of inspired, self-made, and Jankos, I think we're generally pretty good. One kind of talking about international junglers, because I think that you're right, and I think that it's something that a lot of people notice, because in Europe for the longest time last year, even into playoffs, we were like, tank junglers are the way, Hex Flash set, when like all of LCK and LPL was playing like Nidalee Renekton every single game.
Nidalee great.
Yeah, like we were so far behind of the curve. But I do want to know, like, when you look at a guy like Canyon and you go, okay, he's literally better than us at everything. How do you break that down so that you can actually like take that information in and learn from it and improve? Like, what is your actual process then for getting better, for learning how to jungle better? Because if I just go, I want to be Jimi Hendrix, and I watch I can't like just pick up a guitar and like play a Jimi Hendrix thing slowly over and over again to eventually beat. Like that's not how it's going to work for me. So like, how do you actually learn and get better and get closer to being a player on the level of Canyon?
I mean, it's kind of similar to what you said. Like there is things that you cannot like you cannot imitate it, which is his mechanics. I mean, even if I watch like 100 bots, I'm not gonna have his mechanics. That's just not gonna happen. So I mean, for me, it's like I watch his like the way he thinks. He plays around the map, and I kind of try to think what I would do if I was in his situation, and just like watching him and other like really good junglers. I think that's the way to go, the way to learn. like trying to pick up like good stuff from everyone, and then like obviously adapting them to your playstyle and having your own instinct.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of the key to actually like even be better than them.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to learning from people who are like clearly better, clearly more successful, like Canyon's a really easy example, right? Because he's won so well. Mid laners can learn from Rookie. It's a clear example because he's just insanely good. No one's arguing that, right? Like people look up to Michael Jordan. It's easy, but like let's talk about the other end of the spectrum, which is like when you're losing games to junglers in Europe. And if you feel like they're worse than you or on the same level, like is it as easy to learn from those games and those experiences too? Or is it kind of hard to be like, crap, I also have things to learn from, just to drop random names, Gilius, I have things to learn from, Zanzara or from any of the other junglers. Like, do you still feel like there's a lot for you to learn here domestically in EU too? And is that as easy as, say, watching Canyon?
I mean, I think that you can learn from possibly like everyone. Like, I don't think that even if he's like worse than you, maybe he does something better than you. Like, maybe he's just worse than you at pretty much everything, but like something. Maybe he's better at that ganking, so you can learn that from him. So I always like try to learn from every game, even though I think it's harder to, for example, learn a game against whoever jungler you knew than, for example, if I was playing against Canyon. I think that
Yeah, it'd be nice to have Canyon here.
Yeah, it would be nice to have Canyon here. We can't just import people like NA, apparently. We'll get Carlos on it if Yankos ever washes up.
Carlos on the phone with DK.
Carlos, the entire future of our region is at stake here. We need you to import Canyon so we can just have the best junglers.
And all of a sudden, EU has the best junglers after a year. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be sick. I appreciate the honesty and I appreciate the perspective too. It's always really good to hear players, especially new players, be so grounded, and I feel like that's what I'm getting from you here today, where you're talking obviously about looking up to Canyon, which is totally reasonable, the Michael Jordan of jungling. Everybody's gonna look up to Michael Jordan, but also being willing to learn from the people around you, the people above you in the standings, the people below you in the standings, just that constant willingness to grow, and that also love just hearing that you have this personal ambition of being the best jungler. And it's like probably a cliche. Obviously, every jungler wants to be the best jungler, but knowing that you want to do it and having an idea of how you're going to get there, I think is such a big thing, because there are so many people that when they join the league, I think do seem lost or out of it. So hearing that you like have a path, that you are confident is really cool. Yeah,
like I think that I kind of hated on my past. It was like people that got complacent about like making it to something. Like, I'm not gonna get complacent even if I make it to Worlds. Like, my goal is, my final goal, it would be to win Worlds, but maybe that's a bit too optimistic, but it's my goal. So
you never know.
I'm never gonna get complacent about anything.
Yeah, and this weekend you faced Razork, who's the only other Spanish jungler in the league, and he did get the better hand of you this time. And is Razork someone you looked up to as like a fellow Spanish jungler throughout the last year of playing in the ERLs and the LVP? Is Razork someone you kind of tried to compare yourself to as you grew throughout the last year?
I actually learned a lot from him. Like, he was the jungler I was looking up, like, not the most, but like I was looking up to him a lot when he was like, for example, just streaming, because he also like streams in Spanish, so it makes it even more fun for me. But yeah, he's always been someone I've looked up to, and it was like really good to play against him for the first time.
Nice, cool to hear about that history. So that's all the time that we have today. But Elyoya, thank you so much, man, and good luck in your games coming up. I didn't realize that you played Checolad this week, but we told Checolad good luck, so we're also going to tell you good luck. So no bias. We're equally invested in both sides. Good luck against XL and Checolad. Good luck against Fnatic and their new lineup as well. And thanks again so much for coming on to talk to us.